Hello and welcome back to Coach Neve. My name is Tom and today we're going to discuss hitting the ball further. It's that common want of any golfer to hit the ball further and straighter down the middle of the fairway. And today we're going to discuss what we can do in our setup and by understanding where the speed comes from, hit the ball further. Before we start talking about the details involved in hitting the ball further, there's a couple of things we need to understand. And they are that speed is everything. The faster you swing that club, the further the ball will go. Simple as that. However, there is one contributing factor, and that's going to be strike. If you strike the ball out of the middle of the club face, then the ball will have more speed and therefore will go further. However, if you strike it towards the heel, the toe, the top or the base of the club, then the ball will have less speed and will not go quite as far. So although we are trying to swing the club as fast as we can, we also need to make sure we strike it right out of the middle of that club. Tip number one is going to be our stance. Where we position our feet is incredibly important when we're trying to produce fast club head speeds. If it becomes too narrow, then we have a higher center of gravity, which basically means that we're increasing our chances of falling off of the ball. When we fall off the ball or lose our balance, we decrease the likelihood of hitting the center of the club here. So to combat this, all we're going to do is very simple, is change where we position our feet. We're going to make sure that our feet are positioned just outside of our shoulder line. That's going to increase our stability and give ourselves a good chance of hitting the middle of the club. Tip number two is going to be more about how we generate the speed rather than managing it. What you'll notice is a lot of the longer hitters, they generate this very large shoulder turn. Now, the reason why they do this is because they are storing this torque force or this energy in the top of their backswing, ready to be unleashed into the back of the ball. Now, this energy is what's going to help you swing that club faster to make the ball go further. Let's get into how we're going to do that. What you'll be taught as you progress through your golfing career is going to be that you turn the shoulder underneath the chin. Now, when we get taught that, often we stop there. And you find a lot of golfers who just make this small turn here and then come back through and hit the ball. Now, if you want to hit the ball further, you need to increase that turn. Increase that torque force which is happening in the rib cage here. You do that by trying to get your left shoulder to point behind the ball, not just stopping at the ball. Given, you'll notice the hips turn a little bit, the left foot comes a little bit off the ground, but if we're trying to hit the ball as far as possible, this is required in order to increase that shoulder turn as much as possible. By doing so, we store as much force as possible, ready to be unleashed into the back of the ball. Okay, this is going to be very dependent on your ability to turn. There'll be a lot of people out there with limited range of motion around their shoulders, so I would suggest that you do some exercises prior to trying to hit the ball further. This can be anything from resistance exercises through yoga. Just something that will help you turn those shoulders a little bit further. Tip number three. This is all going to be about how we whip as much power last minute into the back of the ball. We've spoken so far about having a good stance, about generating as much power as possible by turning those shoulders. Now, let's try and focus on how we can unleash it into the back of the ball. The left shoulder turns, the chest starts to point towards the target, and the arms drag the club back into the back of the ball. The positions I'd like you to try and get in is as you approach the impact area, feel as though the left shoulder whips around. So now the chest points at the target. Whilst doing that, I'd like you to feel as though the right arm extends towards the target. What that's doing is maximizing the speed that can be produced in the back of the head through the impact area. My fourth tip for you is to simply just try and hit the ball hard. The backswing doesn't need to be fast because that's where we generate the power, not where we unleash it. So you'll notice that a lot of good golfers will have a smooth, purposeful backswing. And then as they come down, they unleash as much power and force as possible into the back of the ball. This is to simply increase speed and hit the ball further. When you are trying to hit the ball further, you're putting your body under a great deal more stress. So I urge you to consider certain regimes that can help protect you from injuries. Yoga, for instance, is a great activity which can make your body more comfortable performing in greater ranges of motion. Other ones will be things as simple as Pilates or resistance programs. They will help prepare your body for the stress you're about to put it under when trying to hit the ball as far as you can. I myself have started to try and hit the ball a further distance, and I'd like to now show you how the tips I've just given you do affect the speed you swing the club. I'm using the Swing Caddy SC200 here to help measure the club head speed. It's a radar technology, it's highly reliable, and I'm hoping it will show you that through going through the simple steps mentioned earlier, you can increase your club head speed. This, for instance, will be my standard golf swing prior to any changes. Now let's check out a swing where I increase my shoulder turn and I try and drag that club through and move my right arm a bit more towards the target. Let's see the changes that it occurs. Well, there we have it, 7 miles an hour. I think it's pretty considerable. And all I've done is increase my shoulder turn and then bring the club through and towards the target with a bit more vigor. I would strongly suggest you giving these tips a go. Go to your club when they reopen, test out a launch monitor and see how much club head speed you gain just through following these simple tips. So, a wider stance for stability, a bigger shoulder turn to store more power, and a faster release to unleash all the speed into the back of the ball. All these tips will help you hit the ball much, much further. I hope that it helps. Please let me know if it works. I want to hear from you. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, share to a friend who you know needs to hit the ball further because they're always 10 yards behind you. Above all though, take care of yourself. I look forward to seeing you on my next one.